Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to 22 panels tonight, or 20 panels. My guest tonight is Mark's always laughing at me. I'm not the actor, Mark. You get your words right. I stumble. Uh, my guest tonight is Joseph O'Malley, who is you reprising your role
I am
in this
reprising my role.
is reprising his role as I just wrote this down and then I put the wrong screen up. Reprising his role as Ozzy in the musical. Is it a musical or just a
It is,
play?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it is a musical.
It's a
Good. I
musical
got it
play with
right.
music, yeah.
Yeah. In the musical The Gift of Nothing, being performed at the Marin Theatre, um, started already or coming up?
We start
Like
rehearsals
dates.
tomorrow, so
Start rehearsals tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah.
exciting.
Right around the corner.
Mhm.
This is a play co-written and by Patrick McDonnell and based on his Mutts book of the same title. So Joseph, thank you for joining us. Mark Pracht is also here to co-host because he knows a thing or two about taking comic stuff and making it into theater stuff. So I figured he would ask the better questions. Um,
Always good to have a
Joe,
theater person in the room for the.
I mean,
Well,
I know a lot of theater people, but
Mhm.
I've never been an actual theater person.
Well, we're
So
happy to welcome you to the community.
so Joseph, thank you so much for joining us and tell us about the production.
Yeah, The Gift of Nothing is a play that was commissioned for the Kennedy Center Theater for Young Audiences program in 2014. And based on the book and an interest in the book, Aaron Posner, who's a really remarkable playwright, he had a play that kind of took over the American scene uh, 15 or so years ago called Stupid Fucking Bird. Sorry if I can't, not supposed to
No,
curse.
no, wait,
That's
we're
the
absolutely
title.
down with that.
But that was based on the seagull, and it became one of those plays that was kind of done at every theater in America. So it was exciting to hear that that guy was taking on a children's book and putting it together as a musical. His daughter was very young at the time, and so he and his partner adapted it into a really wonderful holiday show that kind of lives outside of the traditional holiday fare. Um, in the way that Patrick McDonnell is unique in doing. You guys know his work. I know, Tad, you have a deep appreciation for Mutts, but uh,
I, I actually have a deeper appreciation since having I mean we talked a little bit about the comic strip book club that 22 Panels has, and we did George Harriman and Crazy Cat.
mhm.
So being able to see how he clearly has a love for Crazy Cat, but also has a love for like Pogo and Calvin and Hobbes and whatnot. So like uh, you have at times a Crazy Cat type comic strip, but aimed towards children and the parents reading to them in a way that I just really enjoy.
Yeah,
I guess is the
there's
best way to put it.
yeah, and it's so interesting that this play is for children. But it's such a beautiful piece of writing because I think what Patrick does in his comics as well is he doesn't play to children. He just writes in a voice that can be appreciated and understood by children, but then is just crushingly beautiful to adults who lived through some life and, are especially those shelter stories and the big Sunday panels. Just
I
remarkable.
I mean the all ages story is a special thing to begin with in whatever medium it comes across, but it seems to be something that happens more in comics and even more in comic strips probably than any other medium. You know,
Hmm.
peanuts means as much to the 5-year-old that can't even read the words as it does to the parent looking at it and seeing the world through their kid's eyes again, or remembering it just, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and that's it. I mean, I was rereading some Mutts today just to get ready, and remembering that the other thing, and like uh, when I read Mutts the most, when it was in like the daily paper, and I still got a daily paper, and therefore I had the daily comics to read. Um, I was strictly a cat guy, so like the cat really spoke to me.
Yeah.
Um, but now
This is the
my
great
wife's
debate in the musical, by the way,
right.
is
No,
the schism between the cat and the
my
dog people.
well, my wife had been a dog person, so like since we got married, we've had dogs and cats in the house. So I now have much more appreciation for both animals, but more importantly, can see how much Patrick clearly knows both animals.
Hmm.
These are not caricatures of cats and dogs. These are cats and dogs. This
Yeah.
is, I mean, you see Tom and Jerry, and the cats and dogs kind of act like cats and dogs, but like Tom doesn't act. Tom doesn't do enough just silly dumb stuff. Does that make sense? You never see Tom jump up on the mantle and just randomly knock something down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that one of the wonderful things about newspaper strips in general is that like they are intrinsically have to connect with a wide audience, right? Because no one like you're just getting the newspaper and you're opening it up and you either connect to it or you don't. And I think that it what is wonderful about having read the script is that it really does have that openness to, you could look at it, in a vaguely religious sense, you could look at it in a humanistic sense, you could look at it in a very I don't know, anti-consumerist uh sort of sense. Like there's so much there, not to push Ted out of the way and say let's talk
No,
about the play, but
no.
I
I mean,
mean,
we need to talk about the play. That's what he's here for.
Yeah.
I
But
think
no.
that I think that what was like really lovely when I was reading the script is that, it just sort of like it, as a work, it's so open-hearted, and it was I find it really fascinating. Like I've worked on a few new works, and uh, so I'm assuming, like, since you were in the original production, you were in the room with Mr. Posner and Mr. McDonnell. Was that correct? And
Mhm.
that had to be an experience. I can't I can't imagine. So I like because I mean like the truth be known, Stupid Fucking Bird is an incredible piece of work. I can't even imagine what it must have been like to work with these people. So tell us
They
about
both.
that, will you?
Yeah, yeah, I will. I'll also really quickly say for any listener who doesn't understand the play, it's very funny. I've been like trying to describe it as I ramp up toward doing a show to get people to come to see the show. And I keep describing it in different ways. And one way I describe it is like, oh, it's Zen Buddhism for kids, because those lessons are in there. And another way is like, oh, a Christmas story that's not about presents, but about presents, with a C at the end. But then I wind up just describing the play. So for anybody who is listening who's like, but what are they talking about? Gift of Nothing, the premise is really simple, which is Mooch the cat sees his friend Earl the dog, and he sees that he has everything. And he asks himself, what do you get your friend who has everything? And then he realizes, oh, I get him nothing. And so he goes to look for nothing, but there's always something on TV. There's always something at the store. There's always something to do. And in this very short book, he realizes that if he gets really quiet and he says nothing and he does nothing, then he can find nothing. And the play expands that. And
Yeah,
he
yeah.
also then pulls out a huge gift box and gets the audience to throw nothing into the box. And it's filled with joy and songs, but like just that description alone still gets me. I think
Hmm.
it's so beautifully simple. And the tingles that I feel like describing the play are also the ones that you get in the room with those two gentlemen because they both carry a big presence. I mean, Aaron is just, you can feel his focus and it's expansive and it's
Hmm.
exciting. And Patrick McDonnell, like all of the warmth that's in the comic strip is emanating from him in person too. There aren't two sides to that person in that sense. It was he's the most gentle presence in a room, and
Hmm.
it's really just seemed really um tickled by the idea and really thrilled to see it come to life in a new way.
I was really struck by how, the book, which for anyone who doesn't know, the book, The Gift of Nothing, is a lovely piece of graphic storytelling, but it's also very, very simple.
Mhm.
It's uh and the way it's expanded in the play, I just it really worked really well for me. I loved it. Especially the character of Doozy. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
this is sort of the whole gesturing. We're on an audio podcast. I'm gesturing. Um,
Yeah.
but this is the framework of what we're learning, and I thought it's just so lovely. I feel like I'm a
I don't,
broken
I
record,
don't,
but
I don't
Mhm.
feel like I've heard Mark say the word lovely that many times and that
Ah,
short of a.
it's it's
but
really
yeah.
nice. It's like
But these are the
Ma-
feelings that Mutts brings
Mark and
out.
I are normally talking about either Jack Kirby or like pulp comics. So
Yeah.
like hearing him say lovely is
well, I
it's
mean,
weird for me.
I'm a huge I'm big on sentimentality. Especially as Tad knows, the last couple of years of my life have been a little tough, and the sentiment in this play, and it's in the book as well, 100%. So anybody who wants to buy that book should do so.
Mhm.
Uh, it's
Yeah, I think
just
it's like
so
definitely a
the
Christmas
sim
recommendation for me. If
the
you've got kids,
simplicity,
this is one to pull out.
Yeah.
the simplicity of nothing. The concept is nothing, but really, like to me anyway, is the idea is that what my gift is really time with me,
Right.
right? It's nothing between us, really, is what I believe that's what's in the
Mhm.
final song.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful concept. And uh it is lovely. And you know, I I had the disadvantage when I was reading the script is that I didn't have like I couldn't hear the melodies or the
Mhm.
songs, but
Yeah.
I was very struck by the lyrical content, very, very much. It's uh yeah, I don't know. I could sit
I
here
mean,
and gush all
I'm going to
night.
toss out right now that if you make a cast recording, Mark and I want a copy.
Okay. Great. Yeah,
It's
I may
just to be
personally
able to hear
just
it.
send you what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is those ideas that I feel are closer to like the Zen Buddhist realm are really
Hmm.
lovely in person in a theater. Um, yeah, when Earl the dog, who was played by Maggie Donnelly in the original, so lovely. But when she sings that line, just this moment,
Hmm.
just those words are it's amazing to feel a room slow down in that way. Uh, it's what I love about this comic strip that, again, my head, especially because we're having this conversation and you guys are so deeply invested in these strips, is that like the things that are required to really jive with the comic strip are the things that are required to put on the show, which
Well, I
is
mean,
like an absolute sincerity, and
y-
that it's
y-
not sentimental
right.
if it's honest.
Mhm.
You're reminding me of something Howard Chaykin said the last time he was on, which is that the two American art forms are the musical and the comic. Um,
Ha!
Five.
what?
There's five American art forms.
There's
That's a
only two.
that's misquoting Harlan Ellison, which is sorry.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
quote that it's a quote that I
I
put on the cover of all of my my comic book plays. There's five Native American art forms. It's musical theater. The detective story is created by Edgar Allan Poe. Banjo music, jazz, and comic books.
okay. Now, I want to make it clear that Howard, in typical Howard fashion, didn't say Native American art forms. He said
Hmm.
great American art forms. So I think he was making a statement about the other three, not necessarily one I agree with, but a
Wow.
statement nonetheless. But but what he went on to talk about is that what they have in common, what's unique, is that they both involve taking two other art forms and using them together, and not using, like, he's like, opera is using one instead of the other. What the American musical has somewhat become now is a soundtrack with like words in between, but the classic American musical, and and yes, Mark, there are good musicals. I'm quoting Mr. Chaikin. And I know everybody else can't see the faces Mark is making. I may be misquoting Mr. Chaikin, so Howard, if you're listening, all mistakes are my own. But that they take two art forms that are already great, but weave them together in a way that to get the full story, they're inextricable. You need to follow along with everything. It's not just the words, it's the words and pictures. It's not just the music and song, it's the music and the song and the acting and the dialogue and the full experience. Um so I was actually taking this, I was segmenting to um Mark was talking, or Mark had asked you a little bit about um Mr. McDonnell was on set with you as you
Yeah,
were putting the
I'm gonna pull out. This is
I,
my copy of the Best of Mutts, and he's just so generous, but also just his ability to draw these in 3 seconds is amazing because this was
oh
his
wow,
his
Ozzy,
personalized
Oh, that's
copy.
fantastic.
nice.
But he yeah, he's just so generous within
So,
himself and his ideas and his
but
time.
but but my more specific question is, I did and you may or may not have been able to talk to him about this, but did he have theater background? Was this kind of the first time that he was doing that? And like, how was it having a very creative person who definitely has a feeling for taking different things and working them together, but
Hmm.
works in a different medium, be a
Yeah.
part of that process?
I wish I could have been in on those earlier conversations just to be a fly on that wall to understand how they pulled and expanded certain things. But his job in the room, as I remember it 11 years ago, was really kind of to um, I would say like understand, be the limiter of the tone, but also go, yes, this is in my world. Like
Mhm.
how much of this, and I think Aaron was constantly referring to him, going, how much of this is uh fits in the world, because we never wanted to be outside of that world of Mutts to make a point. And there was so
Right.
much in that story, but it was like, how far can we go outside of it for the scene in the shopping center, which is, 2 pages in the book, and it's all of
Mhm.
this stuff. And so there was a great kind of Heffalumps and Woozles musical number
Mhm.
with moving shopping carts and almost commedia dell'arte masks. And it was like there was question of like, does this fit into the world, and where do we land at the end of it? You know?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that I mean for myself, I mean like I'm not I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of Mutts, but
Mm.
I don't either.
I've
I
read
should
it
make that
on
clear. I don't have the
I
encyclopedic knowledge.
I
I
think
have.
that I like for myself, I mean when I looked at the script, I read through it once and I thought, I know this comic strip, but I've never read the Gift of Nothing book, and I thought that's probably where the really interesting and that's like I think that it's so lovely how, like you say that the scene with the shopping mall,
Hmm.
it's 2 pages, two drawings, and it the way it sort of pops out, it's almost I have another friend of mine who does fold out, like pop-up books.
Mm.
That's what he does, and he's a
Oh,
big curator of those things.
I
Wow.
And
love pop-up books.
So does my daughter.
I want to meet
and
this person, Mark.
um and but I mean that's what it sort of made me think of. Like each time, like there was, you had the various members of the ensemble coming in as the grabber
Hmm.
one and grabber two, and I was just like, okay, this is lovely because it's just the right
There's that
amount of
word
ex.
again.
Yeah.
It does mean exactly what you think it means, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
I just like I liked how it expanded out from what was in the book, and
Yeah.
just it did it in such a nice, uh, tonally consistent way. Exactly what you're talking about. I think that yeah, I guess
I think
it's in. Go ahead.
the big departure to me from the book, or the element that's not in the book, because I think it's explored in the rest of the Mutts canon, is
Hmm.
the how can a dog and a cat be friends? And then the owners being dog people or cat people. And that's the arc, the inclusive arc of the play that I think was a really was a genius stroke by Aaron and his partner Aaron and Patrick, uh, to have that woven throughout it so that they all end up at the same and go, oh, I'm a dog person, but I can also be a cat person. And of course, cats and dogs can be friends, is a simple idea that's also a very big human idea.
Sure, yeah. No,
Yeah.
you actually made me think of something, and this may be something that you don't have any context on, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment in the script where they talk about Frank,
Mm-hmm.
and they say he plays drums,
Yeah.
and I don't think at any point at any time that I have ever read Mutts or anything that I've ever come across the idea that Frank played drums,
Oh, yeah. The
and I
reason
was like,
Frank plays drums is because they were trying to get as much music on stage for as with as little extra people as possible.
got it.
And,
I
yeah.
wondered, I wondered, I wondered about that, but it was like one of those little, it was just like
And
one of those
also,
little,
the actor playing Frank, Michael John Casey, is really good at the drums. And they went, how perfect, because he has the least to do in the show. And so he
right.
could do the most throughout the show. So, yeah, that one wasn't necessarily canon, but certainly helped the show.
But it's just one of those little things like, not to like that. I'm always struck by little things like that like
Mhm.
make me think, okay, there's a whole reason behind that. you know, whenever I'm reading a script, I always think that, okay, there's somebody says something that maybe seems like something of a non sequitur, or doesn't quite have a full explanation, and you're wondering, is the audience supposed to just take that and expand it in their mind, or is that something? And see, now that's the answer, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that kind of collaborative and
And,
theatrical problem solving, you know?
Hmm.
and now I just have to have an autism brain thing come out because it will stick in my brain until then. Between Mark talking about banjo playing as one of the five American, and you just talked about the Frank plays drums because he needed as many instruments on stage. I immediately thought of the Balladeer and Assassins, and my favorite performances have him playing the banjo as it's not the pit or anything like that. It's so yeah. Okay.
And I
Just
love the
it's out
idea.
now.
I mean,
It's
there's
out
a
now.
reality. It never says in the Mutts comic strip that Frank doesn't play the drums. So
That's
it's
true.
fun to imagine that behind all that curmudgeon behavior in the basement, he could just be tearing away.
So
It's great.
so
It's great.
Joseph, what's your history with comics before this?
Um, I will
Is
admit
like I was hoping that he wouldn't ask this
I was
question.
typing you wouldn't ask this. No, I've always been fascinated by them, and my time and attention has never allowed me to dive so far into it. But also at multiple points in my life, I've gone, I'm gonna try getting really into comic books. And
I
then
mean,
it's an
we can help if
overwhelming
you
world,
want.
but actually I moved into a really sweet town in Northern California called Benicia, and this comic book store opened up across the street. And so in the last year, I walked in and I went, "What's new?" And so there's a newer Batman series that I just started like subscribing to.
Which
That
one? The
it's the Ultimate Batman where he has the
absolute
axe
Batman?
in Absolute Batman,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
axe
yeah.
inside the chest plate. And uh I actually
Though I
went
gotta
at the
tell you, if
beginning
you're
of yeah,
enjoying that, the absolute Wonder Woman's even better.
it is
Kelly
okay,
Thompson. Kelly
great.
Thompson's knocking it out of the ballpark.
Oh, good, good, good. I love the world. It's so cool. Alfred as like a secret assassin is so hard. And yeah, it goes dark in really fun ways that don't feel like trite in any way. Like they're
So, so is this Zeppelin Comics?
this is Zeppelin comics.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, I love
Yeah.
it when I can find your comic shop before you
They're
even
great
tell
and
me.
right down the street. Yeah, I also I dove into those early Eisner books as well. And I think they're the most, I mean, there's a reason there's the award after them, but they are the most stunning storytelling and the ones that was the A Contract with God was the first book that I read where it really leapt out of the page for me. And I felt like, oh, these are big theatrical beats that are happening that are dangerous and aren't for light entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
One of the guests on my last podcast, we had our annual baseball and comics roundtable, was able to say that he lost the Eisner the one time he was nominated, but he lost it to Will Eisner, so he
Oh, oh.
doesn't know if that counts.
You shouldn't be able to win your own award.
well, you know, who knows? He's Will Eisner. He can do whatever he wants,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
he
he
could.
can.
Let's
But I
say he
mean,
could. Yeah.
he should graciously step and say, someone else can get my nice.
I get all of these awards because my name's on it.
Yeah. But I suppose that Tad, in the same way that you are an appreciator of theater, I'm an appreciator of comic books and comics, and that I I'm not so deep in them, but I love the art
I,
form.
I mean, I need to find more theater that I can afford and make the time, because
I'm
I
sure Mark will
adore
help
the.
you out
No,
with
no, I
that.
know Mark has helped me out with that. Mark has absolutely helped me out with that. Like, I actually had a subscription to City Lit last year, something like that.
Yeah.
He
But
subscribed until my comic book plays were over, and then
I've been to two since then.
Nah,
I've been to at least one at City Lit that neither you or Sean were in.
there you go.
I mean, it happens.
Here's the
And
other fun theater crossover that I loved, and I wish the one like property I wish Marvel would jump on in the media world is that 1601. The did you do
Oh yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
for
yeah,
that like limited series where it
1602.
was or
Yeah.
1602? See,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
how well I know it. But I
Which we
felt like
can't talk about as much as we used to be able to talk
I
about
know
because,
that's the shame, but they had
yeah.
other authors pick up
Right,
other ones in
right,
the
right.
series. So that's the one thing that I wish Disney would pick up and give like a limited series to, because that would be cool to see in
I, I,
the
I I
film
know
of
that
the
it's
world.
been kicked around in the possibilities for what if,
Hmm. Oh, okay.
because one of the guys that's been on a couple of times is one of the what if directors.
Yeah.
So I know that it's possible. I don't know if it'll get
It's just
deep
funny that they
stuff.
gave Kenneth
We'll
Branagh
see.
like Thor, but not that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got,
Well,
I mean, Disney's an interesting corporate overlord.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't.
well, I do have one thing. Have you had? I mean, like I know you guys haven't. You're just starting rehearsals tomorrow,
Are you
so
sure?
there's no way. But like when you were doing the original run, did you have like Mutts fans show up that were?
Oh,
Was
that's
there
interesting.
cosplay at the Kennedy Center is what he's asking.
That's not what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm trying to compare like
Yeah.
I'll be brutally honest. I'm trying to compare it to my own experience. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
I don't remember that because they had such a powerful machine of like classes
right,
of kids coming in,
right.
that it really the focus was on those kids. So I don't know if there were people who were like diehard Mutts fans. I didn't run into them at the stage door or anything. Um, but it was fun. I don't know how much I can talk about this, but it's past, so I will. It was interesting at the time, and I think maybe because the success of the uh, 2D, 3D animated Peanuts movie didn't necessarily balloon, but that same producer was talking to Patrick during that period. And I think if that Peanuts movie had really taken off, there might have been a Mutts movie coming down the
Uh,
pipeline. But he was
yeah, yeah,
watching this process going like, oh, how is this going to work in terms of adaptation and whatnot?
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it's just always an interesting, like having a crossover between something that has you know, a built-in audience and like my own work, I tried to connect. Like I wanted to bring comic fans into the theater, and I also wanted to introduce people in the theater into this new art form and or this art form that they were unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
And that it was for me, it was super exciting and it was really successful, which I was just really I'm always curious
I mean, he got
through
stuck with me.
Yeah.
but I mean, like I've also like I've met several people who are working in similar genres. Like there's another guy in Rhode Island who's done a bunch of comic book history plays, and Crystal Skillman and Fred Van Lente in New York did a play about Jack Kirby, which like I did a play about Jack Kirby and Stan Lee,
Yeah.
and I've developed relationships with all of these people that I found, and we've all talked about it, how bringing these sort of pop culture kind of things into the theater, like how much the audiences have just really gotten excited about them. And I think it's really kind of cool. I mean, and like, granted, I mean, I know this is theater for young audiences, so it's a very different kind of thing, but it is, um, I mean, it is really exciting. I get really excited about anything like this. So
Yeah, and I think
kudos.
the I'm curious to see how it manifests itself in your plays too, because it's like, oh, you're taking a process that primarily lives on the page or with those writers in the room
Hmm.
and, down here, and then you're bringing it into a real space. And
Hmm.
I think we're really fortunate with the format, with the gift of nothing, because the simplicity of Patrick's drawings lend itself to presentational theater in a way
Right.
that the backdrops were two-dimensional and didn't look cheap because that was the world, and so it meant that like the characters really spring forward outside of them, which they do on the page as well. And so that's the fun of it is, um yeah, you're like kind of breaking the fourth wall there in that you're kind of leaping into three dimensions. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like my shows all have narration elements.
Hmm.
So it's always about going out to the audience and also to the chagrin of my director, who never really liked projections. They were also very projection heavy because,
Gotta
it's a
be.
visual medium, it's gotta have this stuff. And you have to be able to see these things and or at least elements of them. And I think that like there is I guess what's really I'm sorry, I'm starting to rant about everything, but I mean, I think what's really interesting is that you have that there is when you talk about comics, there's sort of an inherent falseness to it. I mean, you're looking at a static image on a page, right? And when you're doing theater, there's sort of an inherent falseness to it, right? You've got a set, and you're having to create with your imagination the world that these people are existing in. And I think that there's something inherently connective to that. And I think
Mhm.
that it's really interesting. And I think um again, with your for Tad's benefit, lovely play that you're working on. Um I mean, you can feel that. You can feel that sort of like uh, the invitation to the audience to use their imagination to, I mean, like obviously you have a human actor playing a dog and a human actor playing a cat,
Mhm.
right? I mean, like it's this whole idea of I think that that's all intertwined, and I think it's really
Yeah.
exciting.
I think that's the fun of it. And I think
Yeah.
that's what makes all great comics and comic books work, is that you have this um often really stylized world, and a world that goes like, this is either going to be fun or exciting. You have an expectation, and then when a real moment happens in it, it's all that more effective. And that's where I think we wind up in this play, and where the best of Patrick's work does it as well, is that in a Sunday comic strip, he can still wind up on a really simple truth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the emotion is full and real
Mhm.
and complete.
And uncynical. Like, it's the
And
least cynical comic strip. I just don't think there's a
yeah, yeah,
cynical panel in the whole thing. And like anytime there is kind of like a side eye, even those are sincere. It's just, you know, coming
yeah.
from a cat or a dog. But there's yeah, nothing goes unsaid. And that kind of not naivete, but that like child's view of the world, I think is why it translates well to theater for young audiences, because the dogs are human only in that they look at the world the way a child does. Otherwise, they do behave like dogs and cats.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fair. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
there have been a handful of other musicals adapted from comic strips. Did in particularly in the initial round of like when you were performing the show the first time, when you were being involved in, was there any study of those? Was there any looking at Annie, at It's a You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown,
Yeah.
Doonesbury the musical, which I just discovered existed?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know for Patrick or Andy, who wrote really lovely music. The funny thing about Andy Mitten, who wrote the music, is his other job is he directs fairly low budget horror movies in Los Angeles. And then he wrote the sweetest music. And he's the nicest guy, but it's so funny to see that
I
his other
mean,
world is
some of
the opposite.
the horror artists that I know are some of the nicest people I know in
Yeah,
comics, but man, can they
yeah,
draw some
they can go for
fucked
it.
up shit.
Yeah. Yeah. From the we didn't I didn't ever kind of consider those other adaptations. Maybe Aaron did, but in getting ready for the role, I did try to dive into those comic strips. And physically, I tried to find a language based on how Ozzy is drawn in the comic strip. So he's like, he's really tall because he's basically Patrick McDonnell, and he's also very tall and slim. And there are so many straight lines and like either a turn of the head, but the body is, because it's in two dimensions, it gives you a really specific set of vocabulary that can be really dynamic on stage if you commit to it. So it was
Oh
really
yeah.
fun to dive in and go, oh, what here is actually useful, not just as an idea, but what can I like work into the performance itself? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, like, that's finding those, with any character, you find those ways to physically make yourself feel it, and when you have, I can only imagine having something that's actually there is a visual representation to use.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It's fun because then you see where it repeats too and where it's reliable, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of like fast changes, like single panels where it'll be here and then it'll be this, and back again. Like those things wind up being playable in real time. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Speaking of dogs and cats, I just got a text message from my wife because she let my dog out, and Eddie, the brat cat, who's regularly on this podcast and part of our came back in with him. She wanted to know if I knew that Eddie had gotten out. I didn't see him get out, but like it's something he does.
I didn't
But
see it.
apparently today, rather than making us chase him, he just came in with the dog.
Oh, great. You went and got him. These are the secret worlds that happen.
There you go.
A couple nights ago, he got out as I was letting the dog in. In fact, I think the dog Potato ran interference because Potato like tripped me as I was trying to catch Eddie going out the door. And it was like 10 o'clock at night and wet and cold. And I had to go put shoes on. And by the time I got out, I had no idea where he was. And I walked all around the house for like half an hour. And then just as I was going back to the door to figure out what to do next, he goes strolling up to it in front of me. It was the first time I'd seen him while he was out. It was when he was strolling up to the door, like, "Hey, Dad, you ready to go in
Huh.
now? It's kind of wet and cold out here." And that, I mean, that's to bring this back. That's what I often feel like with Mooch is he's the one that's one step ahead of his human all the
Hmm.
time. It's like, yeah, hi. In fact, I read a strip today that was great. Like he's out, and what's the dog's name again? I can't. I'm drawing a
Earl.
blank.
Yeah.
Earl.
Yeah, Earl's like, "Hey, it's snowing," and Mooch is like, "Hold on." He runs upstairs, jumps under the covers, and looks out the window. And goes, "Hey, yeah, it's snowing." Like, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I have the cat that Eddie's also the one cat that doesn't like care about water. He joined me in the shower this morning. I don't
Oh,
know
wow.
why. I
Yeah.
just looked down and there was a cat.
I do
Actually,
love this. Yeah. Oh, you go, Mark.
oh no, I was just saying, I was just sort of like, I was sliding through the script while we were talking, and uh, I just realized that the character descriptions of Mooch and Earl both list them as geniuses.
Hmm.
Yes.
A genius of smooth positivity and enthusiasm, a genius of exuberant joy and goodness. Yeah, I mean, like
Now, if you read enough
that's
Mutts, you understand the difference between what a cat genius is and what a dog
Hmm.
genius is.
100%. But
they're
the the description of them as geniuses is
not graded on the same scale.
I'm going to think of a different word than lovely, but
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
is
yeah.
wonderful.
I think
Wonderful.
there's a thing about I think Patrick's worldview that's on display in the comic strip and in the show, and that there's no ownership of pets, and I really do believe there is an equality in
I mean
Patrick's
that
mind
they're
to the species, and I think it's such a
yeah,
beautiful message, and it's executed in the way that even when I introduce him, I say, um, "That's my dog Earl, and I'm his Ozzy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
his
was about
owner.
to say.
I'm not his."
Right,
Yeah.
right. There is ownership with pets. It's just they own you.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's also in the description here. It's
Yeah.
it's Millie is
Right.
Mooch's person and
Mhm.
Ozzy is
Right.
Earl's person.
Earl's person.
Right.
This is my dog. I'm his person.
Person.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Um,
In a similar way, he never uses the specific holiday name in this show. And so it starts, and they're getting ready for a day when you give presents to the people that you love. And they say a very special day over and over again. But
so it could be a birthday, could be
it's a clear
Valentine's
choice.
Day.
Yeah. It's
Well, I
snow
mean, it's
and it's a
yeah.
special day.
Well,
Right.
and the thing is like, not to. It's so inclusive, but yet by putting it in from the perspective of a dog and a cat, why would you think of it as anything
Of
else? And
course.
I think
Yeah.
that
I
there's an
that
amazing logic to that, and it makes it makes a point without making it feel like it's making a point. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I
that
think that
actually
that's yeah,
yeah, no, I love that because you're right. I mean, what's a holiday to a dog and a cat? It's a time they get
Mhm.
presents and that's it. Though that also just reminded there was a wonderful, I think it was a Blue Sky post that somebody sent me where somebody asked, "Does a dog understand what an elevator is, or is it just the world changing box?"
Right.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
But I mean that when you look at and comics do this well, whether it's Mutts or any number. I mean, one of my favorite comics last year was a book called Man's Best, and it was Athos, Porthos, and Lovey in space. Because the pug just looked like a Lovey, so the whole naming thing got thrown off. But it was two dogs and a cat in space, trying to find their master after the ship had crashed. Um, and it had just that perspective of
Yeah.
they know what they've been told. They think, they have what's essentially just costumes for them, but they're convinced that it's actually, I've got my laser jet suit, etc. Um, it's so much fun to look at, because there are also things that they know way better. I can't figure out what other dog has gone by sniffing the air. Um, I can't figure out. I mean, I don't even want to think about all the things my cats figure out. Um, it's one of the reasons why cat comics can be so much fun. um, yeah. So just because I won't get to see it on stage. Talk to me about how it's staged, how Mooch and
Earl, yeah.
Earl
Well,
are
I
costumed and
should,
whatnot. Just a little bit.
as the theater person on this,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
haven't started rehearsals yet, right? So,
But
No, but
he's
I
but
can
it's
done
tell
it
you,
but
before
it's
at
based on the
least from how it was, and actually,
at the
our
Kennedy Center.
director,
right.
yeah, and our director, one of the wonderful Kismet things about this production is our director directed all the movement in the original production, and she happens to live in the Bay Area, and so it was a good chance for her. So there will be some continuity there. But yeah, they are in Mooch and Earl are in dog and cat costumes, and that Earl's costume is black and white, white with
Right.
black spots, and there's a black splotch on the face. And the physical language is sometimes dog, but they're not on all fours all the time.
Okay.
And the same with Mooch. Sometimes they're on all fours, but they're not pretending to walk on all fours. There are just maybe
Okay.
moments where they happen to be there. Um,
Okay.
uh, Earl is bouncing around all the time. It's a lot of up and down, and like Earl is all energy, and Mooch is a little bit like Ben Vereen. There's a lot of movement there. There's a little bit of Fosse in the way that cats can be, and so it's really fun to see though those two. In the world together, and the lack of height difference is just kind of accepted at the beginning, in the way that with any of these like talking animal stories that you see on film, where you go, okay, so these are the rules. And
Right.
really it's never discussed, but the humans aren't speaking English back and forth with the dogs, with
Mhm.
Mooch and Earl. That they speak
Right.
English to each other and the humans speak to each other, but there isn't
Right.
much made about that gap.
Right. No,
Yeah.
and again, I was just curious as to the
Yeah. What are
basics
the
of
rules?
what the rules wound up being,
Yeah.
because there are different ways to decide to do those rules. Another choice that could have been made, particularly because it's a play for younger people, would have been to have younger actors and therefore actually have smaller Mooch and Earl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's
It,
I'm
it,
not I didn't say it was necessarily the right choice, Mark, as you move your head back and forth. I
no, but
said
these
it
are like
was
the basic
it's a
questions that you
possible
have to
choice,
answer.
and that's where the question came from.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think these are
I'm just
questions you answer
I'm
in the room.
I'm
And how many boxes do you have?
There's a regular box. Oh, it's such a fun thing. It's so great. He pulls out a box and it's like this big, and he goes, "Great." And he finds nothing with the kids. And then he goes, "Great, throw in your nothing." And they start like just throwing air. He's like, "Come on, throw in all, like, we all found nothing, throw it in." And then he goes, "I'm gonna need a bigger box." And then he walked off stage and then pulls out a box that's 8 feet tall, um, by 8 feet wide, and plops it on stage, and they throw it, and it's a beautiful, like a beautiful sight gag because it's huge. And then that last song between the two of them is in that box, so it like becomes the
Nice.
center of the stage. And then
Okay.
it's the sweetest moment that we all started crying during the first time it was staged, because we were all just like, I'm never going to see a sweeter thing in my life than a
All
dog
right.
and a cat singing about how nothing is everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
In a
it's
box.
in a
In a
box, in a
box. Which
present.
the cat would love and the dog might
Mhm.
put up with. I mean, my
Yeah.
cats adore
But they-
boxes. They live
Yeah,
in boxes.
This one is
My
big enough.
dog likes to tear
Yeah.
up boxes.
But this dog and cat love being in there together, Tad,
Yeah, 'cause
because
they're
Well,
friends.
and
they're
that
friends.
is my my dog and cats are friends, and that is the scenario in which Potato would allow the box to continue to exist, is if it was being used by one of the four cats, and he might join them in it,
Yeah.
but
But that's the
otherwise
funnest thing
it's a
too.
chew
Yeah.
toy to him, and it's the best toy ever to them.
There's a great line in the play also where Earl is talking to Mooch and he says, "But why can't a dog and a cat be friends? I think we have a lot more in common. Like, I don't question anything, and you don't question anything." And then the cat
All
goes,
of the scene.
"Yeah, but why don't I?" And then he like starts asking questions.
Well,
So,
see, I will say, for those who have any question about dogs and cats being friends, our two departed animals, Matt and Salvador, would never admit to being friends. Like if you walked in the door and they happened to be sharing a chair, they would immediately both get down. However, if there was an open bag of chips on the table, and Salvador loved chips, all he would need to do is stand at the bottom of the table and look up. And Matt would decide to go up onto the table because Matt doesn't follow rules and knock the chips down on the floor, at which point Salvador was obligated to clean up. So tell me that's not friendship.
That's
Tad, the clear love and knowledge of you that you have of those animals, the familial closeness is why Mutts works, and it's
it
why
is.
this play
It
is
is.
such a joy
100%.
because it's a chance for us to go, "Oh, how lovely, Mark." It's a chance for us to kind of live in that for a
See,
bit.
I think just once he should have said loverly.
Loverly. That's a
Yeah.
different musical.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it has been such a joy to talk to you, but
I do have to ask the final
So-
question really quick.
Yeah.
You're enough of a novice in comics. I'll understand if it's not a comic, but the final question is always,
Yeah.
tell me something you love, preferably comic, but we don't have rules. Preferably storytelling, but again with the rules. But something that you love that not enough other people have experienced, and you need them to, so that you have more people to talk to them about.
Find something I love
Something you
that
love.
not a lot of people have experienced. That's
Not enough people around you, because you need more people to talk about it.
Dan Brown, is that his name? Who's done all the Darth Vader and Daddy and Me books? Do you know that?
Yes,
Jeffrey Brown.
yes.
Jeffrey Brown.
Sorry, Jeffrey Brown.
Jeffrey Brown's
I was
Chicago area. He's been on
I was
a
going to
couple
say
of
the
times.
Da Vinci Code guy.
I know, that's why I was like, it's not Dan Brown. There's no way. Jeffrey Brown. Sorry, Mr. Brown. His Clumsy is one of the best pieces of modern adult relationship writing I've ever experienced. It's staggering. It's made me like read most of his other stuff, even though I didn't get his name right. But I recommend to anybody who has a hint of interest in Jeffrey Brown to find that book because it's
well,
magic.
it's part of the whole trilogy has been put together now, so you can buy them together. Joseph needs to run and take his daughter to the theater. So we will say goodbye. But people should go read Jeffrey Brown. People should listen to the Jeffrey Brown podcast on 22 Panels and go to the Marin County Theater.
Yes, Joseph should pitch the show when and where,
Yes, come to Marin Theater. You can find it on marintheater.org. And the show is The Gift of Nothing. We'll be running from December 13th through the 23rd. It's a short little run, but there are a lot of early morning and daytime performances for you and your littles.
And we didn't point this out earlier. It is presented in partnership with the Muttville Senior Dog Rescue.
Yes, it is. And it's beautiful.
Seeing as Potato, my dog was a senior dog when we got him, and a very senior dog now. I have a very soft spot in my heart for the senior dog rescues. So thank you for that as well, Joseph. It has been
both so much.
Absolute blast to talk to you, to get to know you. For Joseph O'Malley and the Marin Theatre, this has been 22 Panels. We will see you after the next page.